There we go. We should be live. Just a second. There we go. 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Welcome, everybody. Hi, we are Mammoth Factory. I'm Daniel. Sorry, I'm Dav. This is Daniel. We're two of the three founders. Head writer is Daniel. I'm getting confused. It is late here in Europe. It's also really warm. And we are today going to be talking about Frostwilds 3, which is the final chapter of our ice kind of post apocalyptic fantasy campaign. And without further ado, let's get into the mood with a little adventure summary by Daniel.
All right. A star has fallen to the earth, bringing with it chaos and terror. The frost giants of the Hollow Mountain plan to use its power in a foul ritual, giving them the strength to spread their tyranny far and wide. To stop them, the barbarian clans of the Ashen Lands must be united to make a desperate assault upon the lords of the Hollow Mountain.
Very cool.
Titles.
Yeah, roll credits. We're leaving. No, very nice. Today we're going to go um, over some of the story, some of the lore, showing some minis, showing some renders, battle maps, art, discussing some of the mechanics, some of the designs, explaining what's going on, and hopefully getting you very excited for what we've made. So both me and Daniel have been playtesting this adventure as we do with all our adventures. We do it in house. Um, Next month there's gonna be a big surprise. If you guys watch our streams, you would know, but no spoilers. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about the three different acts of the adventures and also showing minis. Um, so as you start this adventure, um, Daniel, what is the first kind of first of all, just a little bit rounding up the setting. I'll do a little summary. So this is an ice survival brutalist kind of themed campaign. Um, there's a lot of minis. There we go. Let's look at all those minis. They're really cool. There's a lot of monsters. There's a lot of things you encounter. But yeah, it's a bit of a harsh environment. And this in this third chapter, you arrive at this region, and there's all these clans, and they're all been kind of subjugated or threatened to death by these two giant rulers of the region. So can you tell me a little bit about the politics of what's happening there? Who are these two giants, and what are they asking of these clans?
So the two giants are the idea is these two are pretty ancient. They've been kind of ruling this area for a long time, right? There are entire generations that kind of don't remember a time before they were the head honchos, right? Um, and so these giants are twins. They have a kind of whole sort of death cult that follows them, right? They have
Right.
this big following of people who have, to some extent, a lot of them are uh, descended from them, right? So you have these kind of a lot of these ogres, right, who are kind of like 1/5 giants that kind of appear occasionally and just grow to these kind of big hulking forms. You have these barbarians, the berserker worshippers that are just big beefy guys who have a bit of resistance to cold and a real love for their great 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 giant grandparents, right? Um, and they kind of hold all the kind of human clans of the area in an iron grip, right? They, for many many generations, they have like demanded constant kind of tithes from them, right? Like just food and offerings and worship and all that sort of stuff.
And sometimes the
uh,
offering is humans as offering.
yeah, and so that's kind of what's happening now, right? The idea is whether you're playing this adventure with as part of the big campaign, or if you're jumping into it as a one shot, you are probably there because you're chasing a fallen star that has
Mm.
streaked down to the earth, hit the ground, and the giants have taken it into their stronghold, the Hollow Mountain, right? And they are planning to do something really wacky with it. And to do this wacky thing, they need sacrifices. So they have been demanding more and more people from these clans, right?
Mm.
And this is making the clans, yeah, you know, understandably a bit miffed, right?
Hmm.
They're not happy.
Hmm. Hmm. So you arrive. So I was the player and Daniel was the DM in this specific playtest. And as you kind of arrive in these clans, there's this kind of like makeshift resistance camp, kind of refugees, or they're trying to make some sort of battlements because they don't want to give up um, their people for this sacrifice to. Did you say already it's a sacrifice to the star? Maybe I missed it.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have said it, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's and they're sending all these troops to kind of force the clans to comply, and if you don't comply, then you die. There we go. And they have all these giant blood berserkers, these barbarians, these cannibals. Of course, you don't have to play them like that, but they're pretty brutal. They have this amazing kind of death spasm. I think that's the mechanic we chose to call
Hmm.
it, like where if they go down, then they like as they're going down, they take one last desperate attack at you. I think with advantage, if I'm
With
remembering.
advantage, well, because they
Yeah,
can go reckless whenever
it's
they want, right?
yeah,
So,
exactly. Really brutal. And they're really cool. Here they are. Here's the art. Really, really nice. And their leader is this guy called Huracan. And
mhm.
he has this cloak, and all the cloak he has all the kind of skulls of all the clan leaders he's killed. He's like a really brutal. Do we have the render of Huracan? Is the guy the leader guy with the? Yeah, I think he's there in front. You see all the skulls on his back, and it's like mask of a skull. He's pretty cool. I think like so these minis are ridiculously detailed. Um, they should all be collectibles, really. Hint, hint. Something's coming in the back. So yeah, when you if you join our tribe or our Patreon subscribers, you do get to vote which one we make supersize. So people for painters and all sorts of things. So all those details really come to life when you supersize them. It's really nice. So moving on in the adventure a little bit. So after you make some choices and you need to kind of go to either help that clan or help that clan, or recruit this clan against the odds, or help protect this clan against the odds, and you kind of need to make some difficult decisions. And whichever you choose not to help, they get it's pretty bad. So the idea is the decisions you make have bad consequences, and you understand that this is a serious fight, and wherever you choose to put your effort and your time, it really makes a difference. And otherwise, people die, which is a bit tough, and it was a big blow to us when we were playing. And so one of the things that happens is that you go and face this amazing boss ogre called Uskulga. And tell me a little bit about this Uskulga. What makes her special, and what are these ogres, and how do they operate? What's their attacks and that sort of thing?
So the ogres in general are so the assumption in this world, I guess, is that ogres are people with a bit of giant blood, right? And occasionally they'll just come out real big, right? And kind of mutated. They often have this ravenous hunger for kind of everything nearby them, including other people, right? And so yeah, the ogres have a very grapple heavy kind of very scary way of fighting where like they'll strike you with their weapon, they'll grab you with their other hand, and then next turn they're ready to take a bite, right? um, and we also have the all the ogres have the ability to kind of belch out like a torrent of various stomach fluids, right, as a
Yes.
spray, and just
Yeah,
like bleh, cover
lovely
people,
stuff.
right? Yeah.
I clearly
um,
remember when you were running this, and you were like, because I knew what was coming, because I'm like a semi kind of co-DM, and but I didn't know this description, and you were saying like the ogre comes just like, "Bruh, bruh, bruh," just sprays all of them. They were losing their mind. It's a really great visual to hit them with, just like
yeah.
basically an
And
acid burp.
it also it leads to some great little RP moments in combat, like the
Right.
fighter running past everyone to jump into water immediately,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
That was
uh,
really fun. There we go. There is this Griselmo Ogre 2. This was an amazing inspiration. Some of you might know where this art is inspired by. Amazing work with one of our sculptors. And yeah, these ogres are just great fun. A lot of chewing body parts and all that sort of thing. They're really brutal, and they feel something about making ogres more cannibalistic, and especially her with she has this whole
The big cauldron. Yeah.
yeah, so and she takes it and like puts you in it or something, right?
Yeah, the idea is she can grab you and chuck you in the cauldron and then like jump on the cauldron to keep you stuck in there, right? So
Oh,
you're like just slamming on the outside. Your friends are trying to pull her off. Um, yeah, but yeah, that stuff works really well, I think, and
mm,
because ogres are always meant to be kind of like this, right? But it
mm,
tends to not be too visible. I think I think we've kind of made this element very visible on the minis and pretty visible in the story as well.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I love how fat she is. She's just absolutely ugh. Like the way they sculpted
she's a hefty lady. Yeah.
she that's an understatement. No fat shaming of people, but of ogres. The sculptors did such an amazing job on those flat
Mm.
slabs. Um, at any rate, next up is the next thing that happens is that you sneak through this. So you tend to, depending on how you play the adventure, you get some friends that help you find this like back door into the mountains. So and what you do is that you as you're talking to all these clans that you've helped and you gather the forces to fight the giants, the idea is that they distract the main forces of all these giant worshippers and the people who have aligned there, and they fight while you take the back door and go through a dungeon crawl and get to the giants. And depending on how much you've succeeded to beat people before, there's an actual mechanic, a time mechanic and a number mechanic, depending on how many things you've taken the effort to beat before. That's how much less enemies you have in the final fight.
Mm, mm,
And there is a very clear way of doing it narratively as well, which is very nice.
mm.
Um, and so you go through this dungeon crawl, and there's these amazing saber-tooth, dire saber-tooth tigers. What did we call them in the end?
I think we actually ended up calling them like snowplain saber teeth or
Mm,
tooth or something like that.
yeah,
But yeah, big primeval saber tooth lions that look like they can like bite your head off.
yep, these are big boys. So you're going through their like sleeping den at some point. So you're going through a bunch of sleeping tigers, and you can choose to wake them up, but it's not. We did, of course, we did because we're stupid. But it was a really nice experience. And then there's this whole thing about there's these doors. You can show the map. Which one it is? I think it's the map with the water, if you can see that. Basically, yeah. So it was this really cool experience where you have these doors that you need to pull a lever to keep open, and they can like cut the rope, and then it can fall down and crush you, or you can use it to crush them. But they're so big that it doesn't really bother them, and they can trap you like that, or you can trap them, or it's a lot of there's many ways to get to the same place, and there is like different mechanics for different size doors, right? So because you have the normal guys that can go through normal doors, and there's the big 10 feet doors that the ogres can go through, and then there's the 15-foot doors that the giants can go through. And you need two people to raise the 10-foot doors, and you need three people to raise the 15-foot, like, and all that kind of stuff, and it becomes quite tricky to do. um, so really great dungeon crawl there, and then finally you get to the giants. And what happens in that scene? What's exciting about that fight? Who are you
So
fighting? Who are you fighting first, maybe?
so you're fighting the well, depending on how you did, you could be fighting a lot of people.
Yeah.
um, by default, you're fighting Jotraska and Jetaska, right? The giant twins, right?
Mm. It
Um,
should it should be said that it's made very clear, like there is a very clear instructions to the DM to explain to the players that of like there's an actual visible mechanic of how so that that it makes a difference, right?
mm,
How
mm,
many forces you gather before. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah. And usually there's a few other barbarians around for this, um, just to kind of like give you a bit of like a stopgap on the way to them, right? Um, but basically, during this fight, you have a sort of ticking clock where you have a bunch of people being sacrificed, right? Including probably some NPCs the characters have met on the way.
What are they being
Um,
sacrificed for?
so basically, the giants have gotten this fallen star, right, which looks like this big kind of um, angular, semicircular sort of bismuth shard, right? Um, that has kind of wherever it goes, it kind of creates life. So there's these twisting vines and strange undergrowth sprawling out through the snow, through it, like in a kind of in an area that it never should be able to survive normally. And the giants are trying to basically consume this or draw the power out of this thing, right? The kind of celestial energies in it, and sacrifice it basically to the creature that they worship, right? Because they are not actually the highest people on the totem pole; they are the midway, um,
Lieutenants.
lieutenants,
Um,
right? Yeah.
yeah. So if you're playing the campaign, this is actually a sneak peek for not this month. It is a sneak peek for next month. Sorry, did not July, August, basically August release. So we can show this little tidbit of art. This is called. This is what is it called? Drinker of
Uh,
Stars.
Drinker of Stars, yeah. Um,
We're not gonna say anything about him.
yeah,
Just
we're
gonna
not.
say.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that in the
Some people
playtest.
will have already read a little bit of this guy, right? Because they'll have
Right.
read some of the previous adventures.
True.
But this is
True.
what he looks like.
Yes.
So the giants are trying to kind of appease their master by
Mm.
draining the power from this thing and granting it to this creature that they worship. And yeah, I mean the fight against the giants is a race against time. You're trying to stop them from sacrificing the people they need to get this thing open, right? And to kind of pull their power out of it. Um, the idea is that the two giants have very kind of distinct play styles, right? One is much more of a spellcaster. The other is like a guy who runs and like plays golf with the party fighter, right? Like just donk.
Yeah. Yeah, if
Um,
you can show the giants, yeah, the two giants are just really amazing, especially the videos you can see this massive guy
just
with
has
his
a tree.
trunk. And if you see there's actual bodies of humans like just hanging, dangling from the tree. So it's I wish he kind of showed it next to a human just to understand how small it is.
Just
It's
the
really
size, yeah,
scary.
yeah.
When you put it on the table, you go like, fuck. It's just so big. And then it hits you, I think, for what? Was it 36 damage on a hit or
Oh no
something
no no!
like
It's not
ridiculous?
36. It's 25 for the big hit.
Is
It's
it?
25. It's only
Okay, okay.
25. I mean, you guys are only level 8 when you fight these people.
Yes, yes, it's true, it's true.
Um,
Maybe I'm thinking of someone
then
else.
he has like the sweeping attack that hits everyone around him, right?
Hmm.
And his kind of big charge where he runs through people, grabs somebody, and
Hmm.
oh, right.
Yep.
Uh, when
So
then
what?
of course, go ahead.
Sorry, go. No, go ahead.
Sure. Of course, the sister, the Jataska, the other one is like much more of a storm invoker, right? So she kind of begins the fight by doing everybody's favorite druid spell, and bringing a lightning storm, and then like every round just pinging people with a ton of lightning damage, right? Um,
Yeah, it's fun because I think that's a legendary action, right? I
yeah,
think
so no, it's
terrifying.
normal. It's her action to cast it,
Yeah,
but once she's got it up, she can legendary the
that's
lightning ping,
bananas.
right? So
Yeah. Yeah, no, they were really cool, and they also I remember there was this moment where one of them died finally, but the scary thing was that their life essence came out of them and flew into their
the
like
other one,
skin
yeah,
and empowered them. Also, I think the guy has this thing that if it grabs you, it like can chop your head off or basically
yep,
like
yep.
something terrifying. So it was really a big deal fighting these guys. But yeah, basically that's it. And after you fight them, if you survive, those of you who survive get to interact with the star. And when you open the star, what do they find?
Well, actually, I mean, you can do this during the fight, technically, right?
Oh, right, true.
If you wade your way up there and you get all the way up there, you can actually be mad enough to be like, I'm gonna talk to this star while we're fighting, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, if you are a cool enough dude and you touch this star thing and it doesn't think you're a doesn't have a bad read on you, you can get it to kind of crack open and reveal Luthrender, right? So this basically the big magic item of this campaign, right?
Hmm.
This kind of magical burning sword that is there to sort of bring back summer, maybe, right? Maybe.
It just takes
Uh,
a couple hundred years.
just takes a little while to do it, right? Yeah. Like, um,
It's like
so
trying to warm up your room with a candle or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
No, but it's an amazing sword and it's really badass. I can't believe we actually didn't use it, but of course we. There's a giant. What are you gonna interact with a rock? Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's actually totally on brand for me. Um, anyway, it was fantastic. Great, great story, great game. Everything felt like it had a lot of personality. Um, yeah, and then there is the final fight against that super creature, but we'll cover that next month. Yeah, is there any minis we didn't show? I think we didn't show Inca. I think she's one of the NPCs. We can show her.
Yeah, she is
Um,
a campaign character
mhm.
only, but
There we go.
yeah, she's a character that also some people will have seen in previous adventures, right? That
Yeah,
turns
that's
up,
cool.
kind of chases the party throughout the adventure. Um,
Yeah, she was shit. She was trying to kill us every time at the beginning, but then we slowly took her heart. In the playtest, she actually, I think she got married to someone, right?
uh,
it's in the actual playtest. That's not
s-
canon though.
well, some would say, and many believe it to be true, but
There we go. Yeah,
I
fantastic. Um, well, thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Daniel, and happy Rampage, everybody. Have a nice week.
see you around, people.